Dun, 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 dun. Here we go. Hello, beautiful people. If you're new here, my name is Amanda Zitto. I make motorcycle travel vlogs, content about motorcycle camping, and every once in a while we do lead lovely live stream Q&As where I get to answer your questions real time, which is fun for me. I've heard it's kind of fun for you. At least I hope it's fun for you. Let me know if you guys can hear me, if the audio is okay. As for what we're drinking today, I have apple cider, and at Rocky Mountain Roll this year, some lovely people brought me whiskey gifts, which is like a pinnacle gift, you guys. And somebody actually brought me a bottle of Blanton's, which is just like next level. So we're having Blanton's and apple cider because I have fully embraced the fall vibes. It's happened. It's magic. Also, if you haven't had like bourbon or whiskey and apple cider, highly recommended. Definitely give it a shot. It's good stuff. Also, if you can get your hands on apple brandy, that stuff is also very good. Highly recommended. Hello! Sean's here. The Blue Ghost is here. She Rides is here. Hello, hello, hello. Hi. Oh, good. The audio's working. Thank you, Moto Scout. I appreciate you. David's here. Hi. Oh, you finally washed your bike. I'm proud of you, David. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Barry. Oh, yes. Thank you, Barry. I am feeling much better. You guys, pneumonia kicked my butt. I did have COVID over the summer. I had it in, what was that, July? Just shortly after Get on ADV Fest, I had COVID and isolated in my house in Montana, and that, was not pleasant, but it was not nearly as bad as pneumonia was for me. I vaccinated everything, so COVID wasn't as bad as it could have been, but pneumonia really kicked my butt. I couldn't do anything. Jeffrey, I raise my glass for you, sir. 0900 on Monday morning, and I'm at work. Oh, well, thank you for joining us. Oh, apple beer. I haven't tried that. Well, isn't that just a cider, Sean, at that point? Apple beer. Isn't that just a cider? Although I have discovered that I do like sour ales. I do like those. Washing my KLR is against my religion. Hi, Smokey. Yay! Oh, thank you, Eric. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Yay! Oh, I know. I was really bummed that I missed Overland Expo Mountain West. I had it was very, very disappointing. Azure, who is one of their event managers, was had to mom me a bit because I was gonna try and go anyway, even though I had pneumonia. I had packed the bike and was putting my gear on, and Azure is you need to stay home, dude. Pneumonia is no joke, and I'm very grateful that she did that to me. I'm kind of embarrassed that somebody had to be dude, you have pneumonia. You can't go from Oregon to Colorado. Stay home. But I'm very, very grateful for her and that she told me to stay home because it was rough. Am I going to Stubborn American or Forgotten Angels again? Well, I don't think I'm doing Stubborn American. I don't know about Forgotten Angels right now. I have to work out a plane, if I can afford the plane ticket to Florida or not. Because, normally tickets from Portland to Tampa are, in the 200 marks. And right now they're, around $400. So I don't know. We shall see. If I am going to be able to go to Forgotten Angels, there will definitely be an announcement. I will let you all know if I can make it or not. Hello from Melbourne, Australia. Hello, the Harley and the couple. That Harley couple. Hello. Brian, where am I? I am in my living room in Portland, Oregon. I'm still not at the point of trying to live stream from the road. I just don't trust the Wi-Fi to be good enough to maintain a decent live stream, Hello, Scott. Hi from Arizona. Hello, Reno. Maybe cover the use of roadside assistance and what plan you use in case you have a catastrophic failure from Kelly. Okay. I have mentioned it a couple of times before, but the roadside assistance that I have is just the add-on roadside assistance that I have through Progressive. So I insure my motorcycle through Progressive, not sponsored, by the way. I know that they've been working with a lot of other content creators recently, which is awesome because I love Progressive, but I am not sponsored. I pay for my insurance myself. And in 2016, I added on the roadside assistance with Progressive, and it has been wonderful, especially for Lazarus, which is my 1980 Suzuki GS 850, because in the roadside assistance through Progressive, they cover your tow up to a certain amount of miles or to the nearest dealership that can work on your motorcycle, right? Well, there's literally no approved dealerships that can work on Lazarus at all. So the two times that I had to be towed with Lazarus, I just got to tell them where I wanted to go, and they just took me and covered it because there's literally no dealership that can cover that bike. It wasn't like a smooth process. I can't just be like, hey, there's literally nobody can work on my bike. I want to go here. It's normally like an hour or two process of them searching themselves to see if there is a shop that's qualified to work on a 40-year-old motorcycle, and then they're like, oh, there's not. Okay, we'll take you where you need to go. I think the best story that I have from that is like going from Butte to Anaconda, Montana, which is a decent amount of mileage. Definitely would not have been covered under the bare minimum mileage covered for roadside assistance, but just that tow alone for sure paid for all the insurance that I have paid on all of my bikes. But also in, 2019, when I did the Cabder with Carl and Matt, and that was when I still had the Tiger, I burnt my clutch out after Section 1, and I had to get a tow to the nearest Triumph dealership, which, since we were in the middle of nowhere, California, ended up either being LA or Phoenix, Arizona. So my roadside assistance ended up covering an $800 tow from the end of Section 1 Cabder to Phoenix, Arizona. Again, definitely more than paid for itself. I have had no issues with them. It does take a minute to get a tow. It's not going to be an instantaneous process, but I have found that with the Progressive roadside assistance, I've definitely gotten a tow faster than I did when I had the AMA roadside assistance, the American Motorcycle Association roadside assistance that you get with your membership. When I did still have that was back in 2015, 2014. And I was just outside of Portland. I wasn't even in the middle of nowhere. I was just outside of Portland, and I called the AMA roadside assistance, and I was like, I need gas. I ran out of gas or something, and none of my friends were available to bring me gas. And the lady hung up on me and didn't call me back for an hour and a half. When she did call me back, it was just to tell me that she couldn't find me a tow truck or anybody to bring me gas. And I was like, what the hell? And she's like, well, I'll keep trying, and then hung up on me. But 45 minutes later, my grandpa had gotten off work, so he brought me gas. And literally 2 hours after she hung up with me and told me she couldn't find me a tow, and I had already gotten home, had taken a shower, she finally called me back and was like, oh, I found you a tow truck. So, from the point when I, ran out of gas and I called them to the point where she finally found me a tow truck was, close to 3 to 4 hours, which is absolutely insane. I think the longest that I've waited for Progressive to find me a tow was probably an hour and a half, maximum. Most of the time, they find me a tow truck within 45 minutes. Of course, then you have to wait for the tow truck, which varies depending on where that tow truck driver is. But yeah, to answer that question a little bit more succinctly, I use Progressive roadside assistance. It's an add-on. It's not even that much more on top of it a year. I know a lot of people really love AAA. You do need to know that if you do AAA, that if you want to cover your motorcycle, it's an add-on. You have to add that on. But I mean, then your vehicle would also be covered, so that's cool. But I just added roadside assistance onto my truck insurance through Progressive too. So I don't have AAA. Very long-winded answer. We're just getting started here. Hi, Mom and Dad. Everybody say hello to Mama Zitto and Dad Zitto and my wonderful niece, my great niece. My one big question for you is, what do you think about the Africa Twin, and would you give up the other bike for it? Oh, I would never give up Briareos, period. That's not even a question. Absolutely not. I love the Africa Twin. The Africa Twin has been my dream bike for literal years. Like, since they came out with the new Africa Twin in 2015, I have wanted it. It is dream bike. However, Briareos was a gift. Briareos was bought for me by my grandpa, and with tender love, and I have put so many miles on that bike. I would absolutely not get rid of the CB just so I could have the Africa Twin. That's not, no. I wouldn't give up the CB for anything. I will die with that bike. Just like I will die with Lazarus. Lazarus will be mine forever. Oh my god, there's a ton of how's the Twin? To talk about the Twin itself, if you don't already know, Honda let me borrow the 2022 Honda Africa Twin Adventure Sport, so it has the big 6-gallon tank and the DCT, so it's technically an automatic. It's what it's called is a dual clutch transmission, so it's not exactly an automatic because you can push your gears up and down if you want to. There's bumpers on the left-hand side. There's no clutch, but if you wanted to have more control, you absolutely can have control over what gear you're in and when it shifts. You can put it into what they call manual mode and push the gears up and down. So in that sense, I don't think it's fair to call it an automatic, but that's the best way that people seem to understand it. And I absolutely love it. I would definitely agree. Some people that I talked to before I got it from Honda said that it took them about a month to get used to it and all of the features, because the menu system on the dash is there's a lot of stuff going on, and it definitely takes a minute to break it down and figure out what everything does and where what settings you want it to be so that it runs nice. So I think that all of the review videos that I watched before I got the bike do a huge disservice, because they only have the first ride videos of the Twin, where they barely have it for 30 minutes. I think is a huge disservice, because that bike is capable of so much, and if you don't get a full breakdown from a salesperson about what all the modes do, all of the different drive modes, and all they do is stick you in automatic, I think that's a terrible experience of the bike. I feel for demo rides, they should automatically put everybody in S2 mode, because I feel that's such a better experience of that motorcycle. And I'm so grateful that Honda let me borrow it for so long. It's still in my garage right now. I'm going to take it on one more trip and hopefully get to keep it for a little bit longer, but I don't know right now. Just waiting for Honda to give me the call and ask for it back, but I just want to keep it forever. And I'm close to, I'm at 9,400 miles on the bike right now. I'm so close to 10,000 miles, and that was my goal, is to hit 10K while I had the bike. And I'm so close. I'm so close to hitting it. I've had the Africa Twin since the beginning of May. So very, very end of April at the One Moto Show is when I got it. And I've had it all summer. So in May, my brother and I did a big loop of Western Montana. That was my first big adventure on the Twin, and it was a ton of fun. And then in June, I did an iron butt from here to Rawlins, Wyoming. And then I tried to do a section of the Wyoming BDR. That did not go well, but that's a story for future videos. And then I did a little bit of Wyoming on it. And then I was a part of a tourism shoot for Montana. And then I came back, and then I went to South Dakota with it for Get On ADV Fest, and then came back and did Rocky Mountain Roll with the Twin. In a week or two, my goal is to go to North Cascades, depending on how the weather and how fire conditions are going. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go, but I do want to get one more trip in with it before I potentially have to give it back, which I'm just going to be so devastated. I'm not thinking about that right now. My biggest complaint about the bike right now is the seat. The seat is awful. After about like 5 to 6 hours, like my butt is just so over and done with it. Which is wild because like I've ridden the stock seat on the CB500X like since I've owned it. I've never put a custom seat on it. I've never put like gel inserts in the stock seat on the CB500X. I've been totally fine. But the stock seat on the Africa Twin, it needs some tender love and attention. And if I ever do get to get one or own an Africa Twin for myself, like the seat would probably be the first thing that I fix. Like, but it's just been really, really incredible to get to do my big long summer trips on 1100 cc's of glorious smoothness. It has definitely like made a huge difference in the amount of energy that I have on my trips because like I don't feel as fatigued after really big long days on that bike just because there's just way less vibration going into my hands. The steering dampener is so good. The electronic suspension, ugh. I have a love affair with this bike. That was a big, long explanation. And I think I missed somebody's super chat. I'm so sorry. Blue Ghost, thank you so much for the super chat. Cheers, my friends. Very glad to see you do a live. I actually learned things I did not know about long distance riding just listening to things you say. Oh, that's so kind. Thank you so much, my dude. Or my friend. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to assume your gender. Okay. We've gushed about the Twin. Okay. Have you met people who earn some of or all of their income as motorcycle delivery persons? Oh, Jeffrey, I don't think that I have actually. I have not met anybody who like their whole gig is being a motorcycle delivery person. I have not. That's not really a common thing to see here in Portland. I have seen like a handful of people who do like DoorDash on their like scooters. But I haven't seen a whole lot of like motorcycle delivery people in the Portland area. Definitely none at all in Montana. Robin, roadside assistance is huge, especially here in Western Australia, where we could go 200 kilometers without services. Yeah, I can't even imagine like the cost of a tow truck in Western Australia. Woof, man, wow. There's probably like big, like blank areas where they won't come to tow you, isn't there? Well, I don't know. Last time I used AMA roadside assistance, it did not go well. Yeah, same. I like to know my bikes rather than needing the shop, but sometimes you gotta have a tow. For real, Saddle Tramp, yes. Thank you for joining us, Saddle Tramp. It's good to see you in the chat. Somebody said, I've got Geico though. I mean, like a lot of like big car insurance companies have add-on roadside assistance. I would just give them a call and ask them if that's an option to add on. It won't always show it as an add-on option when you're buying your insurance, but if you give them a call or like talk to a person, they might know more or be able to tell you if they have add-on roadside assistance or not. I just finished my motorcycle safety course and I have mad respect. Well, congratulations, Tab. I'm so proud of you. Well done. It took a helpful New Hampshire state trooper lighting a fire under their butt to get me a tow from the AMA roadside assistance. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Smokey. That sounds like a nightmare. That Harley couple says, plan a trip to Australia. We and other Aussie Moto content creators would love to host you and show you around, especially the East Coast and Tasmania. Thank you so much. That's so kind. Flights to Australia are woof. I'm still recovering from the cross-country trip that I took back in March, you guys. I know that like it seems like I have a lot of money because I'm traveling all the time, but really I don't. I'm like barely getting by. But like as long as you can feed yourself and pay your bills, that's all you need, right? At least that's what I'm thinking right now. Excuse me. I just ran out of gas on Interstate 40 in North Carolina, half-mile from a gas station. Oof. Oh my god, yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I would have pushed it. No, it was a half-mile, I might have. Depends on how heavy your bike was, I suppose. What's the awesome-looking beverage? Okay, for the people who weren't here for the opening credits, this is apple cider and a mix of a wonderful whiskey, or bourbon? Is it bourbon? It's bourbon, yes. Of Blanton's that somebody brought me to Rocky Mountain Roll. Like, they brought it in bubble wrap, like, on their bike, and oh my gosh. This is, like, top-tier gift. You don't even know. Like, and Mark also brought me whiskey. I can't remember the name of the person who brought me this, so if you are the person who brought me this wonderful whiskey to Rocky Mountain Roll, definitely drop it in the chat, because I am so grateful. It's so good. It's so good. So Blanton's in apple cider. If you haven't tried like bourbon or whiskey in apple cider, highly recommend. It's so good. So no, it's not beer. I went to Butler's Hats on the last weekend. Well, I hope that you said hello to the old man for me, because he was the sweetest. Yeah! How is Gary doing? As far as I know, Gary is doing great. He just like went for a little adventure on the Idaho BR with a friend this weekend, and I have been being like the nervous sister watching like his like very rare updates on Google Maps, because we all share our Google location with each other. And I've just been like obsessively checking maps to see if he's back in service, so that I can see that he's moved and that he's okay. I need to get my brother a satellite messenger real bad. But as far as I know, he's doing great, and I hope that he had a ton of fun on his adventure this weekend. Brother will return in the videos. The next series that's coming out is our tour of Western Montana that we did back in May. So I'm super stoked to share that with you guys. I think it should be about 5 episodes of us being super dorks and taking a super easy, chill road trip through Western Montana and getting to share some of our favorite places with you guys. I'm super stoked to get to share the series with you. Just like from starting the process of editing the first episode, I'm super stoked. My goal is to like make it a little bit more like we're gonna share like some more facts about the places that we're visiting, and like that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? I don't know if that made any kind of sense at all. I'm already halfway through my drink. It's begun. The chaos. I keep a half liter of fuel in a special bottle strapped onto the bike somewhere on my Yamaha. It is an extra 5 kilometers, even fully laden. Yes. Yeah. The problem that I had with Lazarus, and the reason I like ran out of gas with her so often, is because it was like barely a 3-gallon tank, and Lazarus just crested like a 40 mpg average. And even if I carried, like I had, in later trips, I had like an extra fuel bottle. But like half the time, especially when I did the tour of Montana on Lazarus, which is the pilgrimage, like there was huge swaths of eastern Montana where I would like use the fuel bottle halfway between gas stations, and then have to like, I would get just outside of town on fumes on reserve to make it to the gas station. But yeah, always carry extra fuel, for sure. I'm hoping to make the Forgotten Angels camp out again as long as the weather is rideable. Yes, fingers crossed. Yeah, yes. I didn't know that some people were confused. I'm sorry. I did not buy an Africa Twin. Honda let me borrow it. Gary's on his way home from adventure. Yes. I was a diehard manual-only rider until I tried Honda's DCT. Rides on a Goldwing and a Rebel 1100 convinced me. For sure. Like, it's super smooth, and especially when you do, like, long hauls, the DCT is so nice. Ooh, oh my gosh, I lost my spot. Yeah. There we go. That's where I was. Sorry. My 1982 550 Yamaha Maxim is a bare basket case. I wrecked it just before Princess Diana passed away, waiting on call for a mechanic who will attempt to start and perform compression test. Oof. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm sorry you had to miss Rocky Mountain Roll 2, Thought We missed you. Hopefully you'll be able to make it next year. For everybody who has like sights on attending Rocky Mountain Roll, early bird tickets start December 1st. So mark it on your calendar, December 1st for Rocky Mountain Roll tickets for 2023. If you want to come, definitely mark it on your calendar because we've sold out tickets every year for the last like 3 years. So if you want to come, mark it on the calendar, save your pennies, and get ready for tickets to drop. The seat is the first thing that everybody fixes on the bike. Yeah. Oh, James says that Geico roadside assistance is worthless. Oh, I'm sorry. That sucks. I guess AAA, my friend Marissa has AAA, and they towed us from the Dallas to Portland, like no questions asked. So maybe do AAA with the motorcycle add-on. David Smith, I am coming to Rocky Mountain Roll next year, even if I have to walk. Dang right, David. We missed you. Would I get a Gen 1 AT? Absolutely. Like, I just love the Africa Twins. Like, I know that they all, like, every generation of AT has their own problems, but I just love that bike. I love it so much. Like, probably to the point of a little bit of blindness towards some of its, like, downsides. But yes. The answer is yes. I would own a Gen 1 AT for sure. Like, even if you mean, like, the 1980s AT, I would own one of those too. I think they're awesome. I probably wouldn't ride it as hard as I have the newer one, but yeah. I added a sheepskin layer on my stock seat, and that has really helped for comfort. I got it at a BMW rally several years ago. Adds to the comfort. Yes, Robin, there's a person at the Hamilton Farmers Market in Montana who sells sheepskin stuff, and my dad's been bugging her about making a custom sheepskin seat for his bike, and I'm waiting for him to get it. We saw a couple of smoldering trees heading home from Rocky Mountain Roll. We were in Idaho. Yeah, Idaho is like straight on fire right now. Woof. I paid AUD $185 to tow my bike 20 kilometers to the mechanic after I managed to burn out the electrics by forgetting to take the key. Oh, man. Hope you're doing well. Watching from England. Hi, Papa. It's good to see you. I'm in Sydney, Australia on the East Coast. Hello. Have you replaced your satellite SOS since Texas? I know you're an Android user, but does the new iPhone with the built-in pique your internet interest at all? I won't say that I will never be an Apple product user. However, I do not have plans to be an Apple product user, period. So to answer the iPhone part, no, I will not. Absolutely not. So when I got back from Texas, I just switched back to my old Garmin inReach SE. So thankfully, like, I still had like my older satellite messenger that I was using before I got the Somewhere. But I think somebody emailed me to tell me that they had a Somewhere device that they were using. I need to contact them because I want that. And then if I get theirs, then I could give my inReach to my brother. That would be awesome. But a general answer to your question is that, like, I was covered for all of my trips this summer. I just ended up going back and using my Garmin inReach again. No worries. I was safe. I had ways to contact people when I was out of service. Have you done any of the BDR trails? Well, I mean, like, I've done, like, at least half of the Idaho BDR. And then I tried Section 2 of the Wyoming BDR. And then I did Section 1 of the California BDR. And I've done inadvertently, like not on purpose, like a section or two of the Washington BDR when I was still doing the Carl's Mystery Rides with the dealership. It just happened that like some of our routes was like on the same path as the Washington BDR. But But like the Idaho BR trips, like they're on the channel if you want to watch those. I've done section 1, 2, 3, and then I've done the Magruder section, of course, like through the valley, and then Lildo Motorway. I just haven't done that top bit or the section from Lone Pine to Elk City. Is it Lone Pine? Yellow Pine. Yellow Pine to Elk City. I just think you could come out to Overland Expo East for mileage. I don't think that's in my budget for this fall. No, sorry. Would I rather prefer to keep the Africa Twin that they lent me or get a brand new 2023? I would rather keep the bike that they gave me. Partially because, like, I've already put all those miles on it. I would rather keep the bike that I've already made all the memories with, you know? And also, like, I have become super familiar with that bike. I know the ins and outs of it at this point. Hi, Kelsifer. Everyone say hello to the kitty? Say hello. Hi. Oh, yes. He's just a cuddle bug. Oh, happy boy. Yes. He's discovered that my new sleeping bag is behind me. Yeah, the simple answer to the question is that I would rather keep the twin that they let me borrow if I could. Hi. I hitchhiked from Cairns to Sydney and back working under the table years ago. Oh my gosh. That's so brave. What bike would you compare the AT to? Oh, that's hard. It's so hard because I feel like the Africa Twins kind of sit in their own category, like, because I wouldn't compare it to the Tiger 1200 at all. Like, the Tiger 1200 is just like, is more of a road biased bike, and because I worked at a Triumph dealership for a long time, and so I have ridden the Tiger 1200, and I have done gravel roads on it, and I felt so much more confident on the twin that I did on the Tiger 1200, if that makes sense. Even though the twin and the Tiger 1200 are similar heights, especially the 2022, everybody's been asking me if I lowered the twin, and I didn't. Excuse me. The bike isn't lowered. It's stock height. The difference being the 2022 Adventure Sports has a lower seat height for the low seat than previous model years. So I didn't have to do anything besides put the seat into the low position on the bike. Obviously, I'm not flat-footing both sides, and most of the time I only put one foot down so that I'm confident. But I can tiptoe both sides pretty okay, especially when it's loaded. And I've sat on the BMW 1200 GS, and I feel like that is like a monster compared to like even the Adventure Sports Africa Twin. If like it feels huge compared to the Africa Twin. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I would compare it to. And I definitely wouldn't compare it to the T7 because the T7 is so like light and nimble and like a totally different like CC category. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need to sit on the V-Strom, the bigger one. What is the V-Strom? Like the 1100? Is that what it is? Or the 1000? I think I need to sit on the V-Strom, like the bigger one, whether it's the 1100 or something like that one. I think I need to sit on that, and I need to sit on the Super Tenere so that I can actually like compare it to those ones as well, because I haven't sat on those. Gary's V-Strom is the 650, and he is the older generation, not the newer one. And I know that the weight placement on the newer generation V-Stroms is kind of different. So, yeah, that's a really hard question. I'll have to get back to you on that one. I learned what not to ride long distance from watching Shade Tree. Yeah. Hi, Julie. I'm so glad you got to stay. Like, thank you for saying hi. I may be planning some rides after I finish the mods on my bike, even though I have only 2 weeks vacation time. Like, 2 weeks is plenty of time to go on an awesome trip. Does mom drink whiskey? We can make it a prerequisite for signing in at Rocky Mountain 2023. Mom does drink whiskey. Somebody did bring her whiskey this year, which was awesome and totally unexpected. You don't have to bring us gifts, you guys. We're just super stoked to see you. It's just like a bonus, and we're like totally surprised. I wasn't expecting people to bring me stuff. I'm just stoked when you guys show up because it's always a really good time, and I love all the energy that everybody brings to the event. I just realized that I'm like angled weirdly up. Let's see if I can't fix this. Oh, okay, bye. Housefurs left us. There we go. Okay, that's a little bit better. What did I miss watching? Hi, Wit. I don't think you missed anything huge. I'm in love with the Africa Twin. What else is new? Also, bourbon and apple cider, highly recommended. I think that's the highlights. Also, roadside assistance, I think. Yes. Do you have a recommended travel flask for whiskey, and when will you come out with your own brand of whiskey? No plans for the whiskey anytime soon. I just realized that I've had this in my ear this whole time. Whoops. No plans for coming out with my own brand of whiskey anytime soon. And I don't actually normally carry whiskey with me when I'm traveling. So I don't have a go-to flask. Moto Camp Nerd has some really awesome flasks, though. I definitely have one of his. So check out Moto Camp Nerd. He has some rad flasks on the website. Yes, exactly. Use the Moto Camp Nerd flask. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate you. What's the range on your Honda tank? Ooh, which one? I don't know if you know, you guys, but I have like 4 Hondas right now. I have a 1972 Honda CB 175. She's still in pieces in my shed. It's a slow burn project, like super slow burn. I have a 2005 Honda Shadow Spirit 750, and she's in Montana. I think that has like a 3.5 gallon tank. I know that I was averaging like 120 miles between gas stations on the Shadow. And then my 2016 Honda SCV 500X, which everybody knows about. And on average, I stop every like 130 to 175 miles with the CB. And then on the Africa Twin, I was going like 175 to like 180 somewhere. I think it was just shy of 200 miles between gas stops on the Twin, but I was never like going like all the way down to reserve on the Twin. But like the MPG on the Twin, it was like significantly lower than the CB500X. Like I think on average when I'm loaded, the CB gets like 45 miles per gallon, and the Africa Twin was getting anywhere between like 34 to 40. So like I needed the big tank. I'm about to put Amanda's live stream on the TV into the Packers game. I feel like that's a serious compliment. Thank you, Wit. Oh, hi, Travis. I'm sending you all of the hugs right now. All of the hugs. I don't blame you for missing Rocky Mountain Roll this year, my man. Like, but yeah, you messaged me. Yes. How do you deal with those who speak negatively about your trips and lifestyle in general? I block them. That one was easy. There's just no time to deal with that kind of negativity. Like, I would rather just block somebody and never deal with their negative shit again and just continue making and focusing on what I'm doing. That's just my motto. There's no time for it. Now you are just rubbing it in. I want to come back to for Rocky Mountain Roll, but I will be making a moto trip to Phuket so I could have a consolation prize. Ugh. I mean, like, you're in Australia. I feel like that's a consolation prize. Oh my gosh. December 1st is on my Google Calendar. Good. Yes, wonderful. I tried my Geico roadside assistance twice and got no tow trucks available both times. Oh, I'm sorry, James. That sucks. Bye, Jeffrey. Thanks for stopping in. Oh, there's a super chat. Oh. Thank you, Blake Rides. Cheers. And I have to make a new drink. No, I have another drink. Hold on. I came prepared. I have the mystery cooler for this one, so I don't have to be pouring drinks. Here we go. Mystery cooler. Mystery mason jar. I think this is tequila and apple cider. I don't... We bought tequila to make margaritas. Oh. Tequila and apple cider, not as good as bourbon and apple cider. Do not recommend. Oh my gosh. I'm still gonna drink it, but not recommended. Thank you, Blake Rides, for the super chat. Thank you very much. Oh, I've been off the net for a while. When did you change to the Africa Twin? So, and in real time, I got the Africa Twin from Honda April 31st during the One Moto show, and I've had it all summer. In YouTube time, it is just started because I had so much film. We're on to the second drink, you guys. I had so much footage from the cross-country trip that I did back in March, and I did that on purpose. I purposely did the cross-country trip at the beginning of the year this year so that I would have all that footage backed up and have it to fill out pretty much all summer without having to worry about producing brand new content and editing it every single week, because it's a huge time suck. Like, producing content is a time suck, and then editing that content is a time suck, because it takes me around 20 hours to 28 hours, depending on the episode, in order to edit every single individual episode that you guys see on the internet, which is why I missed a couple of weeks this summer, because I just couldn't manage to like put in that 28 hours of editing time while I was in the middle of some of these other trips. Anyway, so we have just now finished all the content that I filmed back in March, and then a couple of follow-up episodes from the cross-country trip, like all the riding gear that I took and how much it how much the trip cost. And then we just got the video that I shot back in April. No, it was the beginning of May when I went and camped with llamas. So in YouTube time, we're like actually just now watching the beginning of the content when I first got the Africa Twin. So you have like all of the stuff that I filmed over the summer to look forward to as we go into the fall and winter season. And I also planned that out on purpose because I really wanted to have like stuff for you guys to like live vicariously through as we go into the winter months, especially for people in the north where like our riding season is coming to an end. I know that I really, really appreciate people who can put out content, even if it is a little bit delayed, during the winter time, so that I can live vicariously through that content every week while I'm mostly stuck inside. Anyway, that was a long-winded answer to that question. Any plans to ride in New England? Yes. I don't know when it's going to happen yet, though. I had hopes, if everything went really, really well this year, that I would be able to ride New England next fall. However, I mean, like, it might still happen. Things could still change. Everything's kind of up in the air. But just based on how much the cross-country trip costed in March this year, I know New England is going to be a little bit more expensive than it is to travel in the South. So I know that it's going to be about the same amount of money, if not a little bit more, in order to travel New England in the fall, which is also a high season in New England for leaf peeping. So I know that I need to have saved up at like $6,000 or something like that in order to do New England properly and ride from here to New England. So I don't know if it's going to be able to happen next year or not. I'm working on it. I'm saving my pennies, but like I can't make any promises that's going to happen in the immediate future. But I do have plans to do it. Like I have a whole Milanote board because I am a nerd. I use an app called Milanote to plan all of my YouTube videos. My patrons have already kind of seen a little bit of a walkthrough of my Milanote process. I need to make an updated one because like I've totally changed not totally changed, but I've definitely like streamlined my like planning process and how I make my checklists for shot lists and that kind of stuff. So my patrons will get access to that. And that's available for everybody who like base tier $1 is all you need to donate a month on my Patreon to get access to that stuff. And my Patreon only content. But anyway, I have a whole Milanote board just for traveling New England. I've been pinning stuff. Yeah. The answer is I do have a plan. I just don't know when it's going to happen right now. Unless I miraculously get like an incredible sponsor who just wants to like sponsor a New England trip. Oh, Mom was upset I had margaritas without her. I'm sorry. You just have to come here. Like, maybe we should make that the theme for this live stream is that if people live chat me enough money, Mom will be able to come and visit me again, and we will have margaritas on live stream. I don't know if any of you were here for the live stream where Mom got to be here in the tent with me, but it was a really, really good time. I feel like everybody had a blast. So if you would like to see Mom on the live stream with me and us drinking margaritas, like drop some money in the super chat for gas money so that Mom can come from Montana to Portland and we can margarita live stream, because I feel like that would be a blast. And also like my plan is for the winter time is that we're gonna go back to doing like monthly live streams since I will be home way more now. So I think that we'll go back to monthly live streams again for the winter time. Let me know if that would be fun for you. I think it would be fun. Bubba J says hi. Have to leave for now. Bye, Chasing Geckos. Thanks for being here. I've also been gone a while. Is your AT a DCT? Yes. The Africa toy that I'm borrowing from Honda is a DCT. It's the Super Sport. Not Super. Oh my God. Why do I keep saying that? Adventure Sports DCT. So it's got the big 6-gallon tank and it has a dual clutch transmission. Just spent the weekend off-roading in Winchester Bay, Oregon. Ooh, that must have been like a ton of fun. Camping with llamas. I have looked this up in NSW, and yes, I can do it. I just need to get my life a bit more together before I go do it. Oh, Alonga, that would be awesome! I really enjoyed camping with the llamas. It was a ton of fun. What is this winter of which you speak? I'm going to hide in Arizona. That's a good plan. I mean, like, there are sections of high elevation in Arizona that do experience winter, Smokey. I'm just saying. How about Ontario, Canada? Yes, I also have plans for Canada. I have plans for Alaska. These are all future adventures because they all take a significant amount of money to achieve. But I do have the plans. Remember, the winter for you is the summer down here. You can watch all the Aussie content from December to February. This is true. Come out to Ohio. I have been to Ohio. And also, I'll have to go through Ohio to get to New England. Hit me up for tips for New England. Thank you, Smokey. Laconia Motorcycle Rally hits 100 June next year. Oh, that's cool. You should come on up to Canada. Your dollar goes a long way here. I see you, Critter. I see you. Why do my comments not show up? I don't know. I see you. I don't know. Thanks for the AT update. I took my 2005 650 V-Strom to Alaska this summer. You and others were reasons I said, I'm 65 and I need to do this. My wife also rides a CB500X, but flew to Alaska. Ride safe. That's awesome. Cheers. That's so cool. That's awesome. I hope that you had a blast. My budget for Rocky Mountain Roll came out fairly close to the actual spending. Oh, well done. That's awesome, Paul. That is like a cue of like an excellent budget. I've been using Milanote since you mentioned it, and I really like how it works. I rough out bleak episodes using it now. Yes, right? It's so intuitive. It's super visual. I like it. Like, my biggest complaint about Milanote right now is that like their mobile app isn't my favorite, just because it turns everything into a big column instead of like being able to zoom in and out of like your regular visual feed. I don't feel like it would be too much to ask just to be able to zoom in and out of your layout. You just like hold your phone horizontal and just like zoom in and out. But I get why they don't do it that way. But that's my biggest complaint, is that the mobile app isn't the same as using the desktop version. But I still absolutely love it. It's like, it makes my brain happy. Did you hear there is a recall on the Twins now? I did hear about that, yes. I remember that it was fun. Very cool. I like the live streams. Yay! I'm so glad that you enjoy them. When I get time off again, you're going to be oh, right. I forgot. Mom and I had talked about this, that they were going to come visit, and I'm going to be in Seattle when she has time off. Poop. Also, if you guys didn't know, or if you're in the Northern Washington area, I'm going to be doing a pop-up at the Wick next weekend. What is that date? Let me look up the date. Hold on. I'll be selling prints, and I'll have a couple of originals to sell. If I can find the thing. The Wick is in Seattle. Why can't I find this right now? It's next Saturday. Jonathan, what is next Saturday? He's gonna go check for me. The 17th. I will be in Seattle on the 17th at the Wick Moto. Come and see me. I'll be selling originals and stuff. I've already started the process of making the moto calendar for 2023. Do you want to see what I've been working on? I'm super behind the chat, so I'm just going to show you, even if you didn't want to see it. So this is the first piece for Inktober. I don't know if this is going to be in the calendar. My goal is to make 16 pieces between now and the end of October, and then I'll pick my favorites, and that will be in the calendar for 2023. But I have this one. This is pretty. Also, all of the originals that I'll be making between now and October are going to go for sale up in my Etsy shop. So this will be available in my Etsy shop very soon. And then I have the big guy that I just finished inking yesterday. And this one isn't colored yet. But I have this guy. He's much bigger. It's a motorcycle on a lake with buildings on it. I'm so good at talking about my art. Anyway, this is going to be colored. It's not done yet, but you got a secret work in progress. This is like a live stream exclusive. Not that you can see it very well. Sorry. Anyway, all of the originals, the original paintings will be for sale in my Etsy shop very, very soon. So if you would like some original work, definitely keep an eye out on that. If motorcycles were constellation star signs, which would you be? Wait, but I'm not a motorcycle. Oh, if motorcycles were constellation star signs, well, I would be a Honda. That's easy. Or you mean like specific bike? I don't know. I have to think about that. Ride season never ends. Studded novels and heated gear. I mean, like, I don't enjoy riding over ice, even with studded tires. You know, Iowa winter is real. Riding season is almost over. Oh man. Hi Amanda, Brendan from Ireland here. Just leaving a quick comment to say thank you for being an inspiration to go out and do the thing. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you for stopping in. Brendan. I'm sorry. I'm like 2 drinks in right now. I'm so sorry. Hi from Ontario. Thanks for sharing your ride with us. Thank you for watching it. How do you like the DCT? I love it. I feel like more people need to try riding it. Help the wife, and I really enjoy your Northwest content. Oh, thank you. Hello, Amanda. I've seen you come through Central California often. Any plans to come back, though? I don't, not at the moment. That's the simple question. Not currently. You're going to be in Seattle this weekend. I'm going to try and come see you. Yay! Awesome! How was the soul race with Marissa and Tim? It was a ton of fun. That was a ton of fun. I did terribly, but it was a ton of fun. That's the downside to not having the clutch, is that like doing slow speed stuff is like weird. It's weird. It's possible, but it's like when you have spent your whole riding career learning slow speed skills by like being able to control your clutch, like doing it without a clutch is much harder. Well, doing it without control over your clutch is much more difficult. Amanda, we adore watching your content. You are inspiration to women riders like me. You gave the courage us to get out and do the thing. Thank you. Thank you, Steph. I appreciate that. That's so kind. Ever consider live streaming from the road sometime off bike, not when you're riding? I've thought about it, but my problem is like trying to find a place where like the internet is good enough that I'm not going to drop stream, you know? That's the biggest problem. Thank you. Wish my wife would ride, but we're both headed to Thailand for enduro riding with Grace. Oh, Bikeadonia! This December, maybe next year I'll return to ADV riding on your side of the Mississippi. That would be awesome! Say hello to Bikeadonia for me. She is the sweetest. Oh my gosh. I didn't know you were going live. Hi! Well, I'm glad that you're here now. As always, love your videos. Thank you, Clinton. I appreciate you. You and Shade Tree have been super inspiring. I now get out to do the thing and keep it weird. Awesome! Is there an Africa twin in your future? Well, I mean, like, goals, right? I would love to have one. Like, will I own one? I hope so. Yes. I hope so. Hi, Yvonne. It's good to see you. Hello. I think I've caught up to the chat now. Hi. Radar 52, thank you so much for the super chat. Cheers, my dude. Okay. Shall we talk about new gear? Should we talk about new gear? I just, when I was supposed to go to Colorado, I did a crazy thing, you guys. Wait, it's stuck under my chair. Okay. This is my new quilt. I'm kind of excited about it. It was supposed to... So before I got pneumonia, I was supposed to go to Overland Expo Mountain West in Colorado, right? And it was still fairly warm at that point. And I was like, I would really love to try another sleeping bag that packs down a little bit smaller than my Diamond Park for the summer season. Because like the Diamond Park is a little bit overkill in the middle of the summertime, you know? And as much as I love the Xped Comfort sleeping bag that I took on a cross-country trip, I was having like, by the end of the trip and like also over the summer with the Comfort sleeping bag, because it does pack down so much smaller than Diamond Park, that's what I took for most of the summer. The couple of nights where it gets really, really cold and I was like layering up, I started to feel like there wasn't enough room for me to move inside the sleeping bag. Like if I'm wearing my down booties and like my down pants and like a puffy jacket and a sweater, like I get to this point where like I literally can't move my elbows inside the Xped Comfort sleeping bag. So I was talking to Moto Camp Nerd about different options to try out for another summer sleeping bag that was still nice and warm, because I sleep cold, but I wouldn't feel so claustrophobic in, or like I would have more elbow room in. And that's when he convinced me to try out the Enlightened Equipment down sleeping bag. Right off the top of my head, I can't remember what the model name is. But it's the Enlightened Equipment down sleeping quilt. So like there's not actually a bottom, but it does have an elastic strap that you can wrap around the sleeping pad. And I've heard really, really good things about it. The idea being that if you're sleeping on a traditional sleeping bag, the bottom underneath of you, like you're just crushing all that down. So it's not really insulating you at all. So what you're really relying on is the insulation that's in the sleeping pad that's under you, right? So why carry the extra weight of the down on the bottom part of your sleeping bag if it's already compressed and it's not doing anything to insulate you? So that's where like the idea of a quilt comes in, where they remove the bottom of the sleeping bag, and so you're just sleeping on the mat underneath of you, and the quilt acts more like a traditional blanket over top of you. I like that this one has like the elastic straps that you can hook around your sleeping pad, so even if you're tossing or turning in the middle of the night, you're not going to lose the coverage over top of you, if that makes sense. But unfortunately, since I got pneumonia, I haven't gotten to test it in the wild yet. I have taken quite a few naps in my house with it, and it has been glorious. I even took a nap in the garage with it on my sleeping pad just to test it out, and I love it so far, but I haven't got to test it in the wild yet, so that is what I'll be taking on my next trip. Also, I got a new stove that I'll show you. I still love my trucker, and I stand behind it, but I was curious about this, is the Primus. Oh, why am I blanking on the like model names right now? On Moto Camp Nerd, you can find this Primus stove, which is a remote stove. So the fuel canister sits on the ground over here instead of underneath the stove, and then this sits on the ground. This particular unit comes set up for isobutane, like regular fuel that you would use for most backpacking stoves. But you can purchase a conversion kit to turn this particular stove into a gas, like a petrol fuel stove, which is super cool. And because I haven't gotten to cook on like a gas stove before, like a petrol gas stove before. And when I got to hang out with Tim and Marissa at Overland Expo PNW, they were cooking on their petrol stove, and it was like, I actually was thinking about it. I'm like, I've never gotten to cook on a stove like that before, and I can imagine it's like a much different experience than cooking on isobutane. And I know a lot of world travelers use petrol stoves because it's much easier to get that than trying to find an isobutane propane mixture of fuel in the middle of South America. They're not like, anyway, so I bought a new remote stove, camp stove, which is super exciting. Of course, right now it's set up for isobutane, but like even that like seems like a neater cooking experience because your pot isn't so far off the table or the ground, so the weight placement is a little nicer. You're less likely to tip it over. All of those things. I'm excited about it. I'm stoked to try it out. In the wild. I've done a little bit of cooking on it here in the house, and it's been fun, but yeah. I can't afford the Africa Twin, but I can afford the Jamaican Twin. Did you get the Bicodonia decals I sent this past spring? I think so. I'm pretty sure. Did you get any Rocky Mountain Roll material this year? Material? I don't know if I know what you mean, Paul. Material. Like video or like posters or photos or... I need clarification on your question, Paul. Should I scrap Final Cut Pro and force myself to relearn a whole different program? Glitches are starting to get to me. Ryan, I'm not going to tell you what to do. Like, you do you. Do whatever you feel is best. I'm a PC user, so I know that the user experience is different for Apple users. But I use Premiere Pro. I absolutely love it. But if you're looking to like relearn a whole program, I feel like DaVinci Resolve would be an awesome program to learn. Like, industry standards like DaVinci Resolve is used for color correcting, like even for like documentary films and stuff. And actually, DaVinci Resolve isn't that far off from the user experience of Premiere Pro. So, like, if you learn DaVinci Resolve and that's not what you wanted, like, then you could try Premiere Pro, and like the learning curve wouldn't be as steep because they're pretty similar programs. But DaVinci Resolve, like, you can download for free just to try it out, like, versus Premiere Pro, which comes with like the pay barrier with Adobe. Keep up the great work. Thank you. I appreciate you. I just motocamped last night using, what was it? Using the Light Equipment quilt. It's awesome. You will love it. Thank you, Garrick. I'm so stoked. You trek to the North Pole. I love your videos, and I'm really enjoying your live stream. My get out into the thing is riding to fishing locations, trying to start my own channel. Any advice? Be consistent, and like for the first like year for like a brand new channel, I would just focus on learning how to edit, learning to make a streamlined story that is interesting to other people, not just you. That's like the biggest thing, is learning to edit succinctly so that there's not like wasted time. That's so hard to explain. Not leave, especially for YouTube, not leaving a shot on the screen longer than it needs to be there to get the gist across to your audience. That's like the biggest drop in watch time on new creators' channels, is like not understanding pacing and leaving some shots on the screen way longer than they need to be there to communicate to your audience what you're trying to communicate, and then moving on to the next thing to further your story. So biggest thing is to nail being able to tell a story to somebody who doesn't care what you're doing. Like, that's the biggest, like, always assume the person who's watching your video doesn't care what you're doing. You have to make them care and understand why they should care. And then also, like, bring them along for a story, even if that is, like, I'm going to a fishing spot. There's definitely ways to make that interesting and exciting for people who don't even fish. So like the first year, I feel like you should just focus on nailing your edits, making them intriguing, making them exciting for people who don't care what you're doing, nailing the story plot line, like understanding plot arcs in general, and what information you need to be conveying to your audience so they understand what you're doing and what you can leave out. And like, I feel like a year, and like some people take more than a year to like learn how to do that correctly. And the best way to continue learning is to be consistent with it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be every week. Obviously, you're going to learn faster if you're producing more content on the regular, but like pick what schedule you can be consistent with, even if that's only 1 week, one video every other week, or like one video a month or something like that, but be consistent with it. And just know the longer the stretch between videos that you edit, the slower you're going to learn, essentially. And people aren't going to care about your content if you're not consistent. Like if you only make one video sporadically and they don't know if it's once a month, and they don't know it was going to be like once a year or once every 6 months, and you just like pop everyone up like randomly, people aren't going to like stick around for your content, essentially. So for the first year, focus on learning and like making content that you want to watch, but also makes sense to other people. And then after that, once you've got like nailed your editing style, then focus really heavily on being consistent and showing up for your audience, making sure that your audience knows when you're going to be posting, that they can rely on you posting, and that you're going to communicate with them, like all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. I hope that made sense. I could add a fleece liner too. Yes, this is true. If you're big and or tall, quilts are great. Yes, definitely. The added elbow room is super cool. I found remote stoves have more adjustability for temperature, and I can cook better on those than my jet boil. Oh my gosh, yes. Like jet boils are kind of a bad example because like they're literally designed to boil water as fast as possible. The fact that they like made that add-on for like a skillet is hilarious to me because there's no adjustability in the flame. Like there's other camp stoves like the standard Primus or the Trucker UST that I've been using for a while. Like those smaller camp stoves, not the MSR Pocket Rocket, because the Pocket Rocket is also designed just to boil water as fast as possible. So there's not as much adjustability in the flame. But yes, I agree with you. There's definitely more adjustability in a remote stove for the flame than some other stoves. Yes. Pro tip on the E-Quilt, it comes with a stuff sack, but the Sea to Summit Evac 8-liter dry sack is a perfect fit for when you want more water protection. That's awesome. Thank you. Videos, I should have said content. Oh, okay. Did I get Rocky Mountain Roll content this year? So I didn't end up recording like anything at Rocky Mountain Roll this year. I spent so we had the biggest turnout for Rocky Mountain Roll this year than we have since 2017. And even then, like we had more people this year than we did in 2017, and that's crazy. It was an awesome time, and I think that everybody had a good time. Like I didn't get to like go through and ask every individual person if they were having a good time this year. There was like 80 plus people there this year, so it was really difficult for me to get to talk to every individual person. And next year I will definitely be sitting at the gate with Mom so that I can talk to everyone who checks in. That's my goal for next year, is to be at the gate with my mom so that I get to talk to everybody. And also because I spent a goodly amount of time this year like addressing like stuff that was breaking or stuff that needed to be fixed. So I didn't quite get to do as much hanging out time as I feel like I have in the past couple years, which just kind of comes along with running an event like that. Like you end up spending a decent amount of time just like managing the event as it happens and not necessarily like getting to hang out, you know. The raffle this year was so much fun. I had an absolute blast. But a couple of people were very, very kind and sent me some of their video and photos that they got from Rocky Mountain Roll. So I will be making like this is what Rocky Mountain Roll is updated video probably this winter, like maybe January or something like that. It won't be like, this was Rocky Mountain Roll 2022 because I don't have enough footage to make that happen. But I'll be making like an updated what is Rocky Mountain Roll video probably in January for people who have no idea what that is and what we do out on the ranch, or what like the experience would kind of be like if they decided to subject themselves to coming to a redneck ranch in the middle of nowhere, Montana. I wouldn't call it middle of nowhere. We're like an hour from Missoula. That's, you know. AT was on my list last year, but I just felt it was too tall. Got an NC 750X DCT, and I'm crazy about it. Don't miss my BMWs at all. I mean, like, the NC is a really, really fun bike, for sure. I use Filmora, and it's great for year one. I'm going to need to use something with more robust features soon, so much I want to do, like, your videos are so polished. Thank you. Yeah, like, Filmora is, like, a very great, like, a super basic editor, but if you want to add titles, if you want to, like, color correct or get into, like, editing your audio better so that it's clearer, all of those things, like, the Adobe suite is so much better for that, especially, like, if you want to do maps and stuff. I make all of my maps in Adobe After Effects, and then I export them and move them into Premiere Pro. Like, if you want to get into, like, technical, like, polished stuff like that, you need the Adobe suite. It's very difficult to do without. There are alternative programs, but Adobe programs all talk to each other so well. Like, they've definitely done an excellent job of dominating that market for sure. As far as, like, consumer creators go. Obviously, like, people who make full-on cinematic movies for big screens, that kind of stuff, have different choice products that they use. But as far as YouTube goes and making content that's consumable on the internet, the Adobe Suite it's hard to beat. DaVinci Resolve also, like, a really, really wonderful program, and I still really recommend it to people because it's like a really robust program. But for making like maps and stuff, it's hard to beat After Effects for that kind of stuff and making like animated features. And of course, that's like a much more advanced part that like some people will have to work a long time to get to. I have the benefit of working in Adobe programs since I was like 12 or something. So like working on a computer and doing that kind of stuff is much more second nature to me than it is to other people who have to learn it from scratch. Yeah. I hope to create great videos like you one day. Oh, yes, definitely tough putting a story together. It takes a really long time. And even now, like sometimes like my stories aren't super great and I have a lot more practice. We're all learning. And I think that's like the biggest thing is just like to always be competing with yourself and trying to make the best story that you can. And just continue trying to push yourself and what you are capable of. Try not to get like, especially when you first start out and trying to learn that process, like not comparing yourself directly with other people, because like that's the easiest way to get burnt out or like find yourself being overwhelmed, like you don't want to do it anymore. A lot of my friends and like other people who started YouTube channels, they get overwhelmed and they see how other people are doing or how successful other people are doing, like, and becoming, and they get super burnt out or they get bummed because they're not growing at the same rate, like, or their videos aren't the same like caliber, whatever. Like when you first start out, you need to be focused on you and your journey, like on the path of like creating stories that people want to watch. And like you need to, it's almost like putting blinders on for a little while so that you can like focus on trying to make the best story that you can make, and then like come out of it, like take the blinders off for a minute so you can look around and be like, okay, I need to do better. Okay, blinders back on. Focus on learning and doing the best that you can do, and then like take a break, look around. But like don't spend so much time comparing yourself to other people that you get burnt out on learning how to do the best and make the best stories that you can do. I hope that made sense. Yeah. Tough to create a story when on a long group ride, but having fun learning. Yes. Oh my gosh, group rides are like so hard because there's so many more elements involved. Like when you're just doing a story where you're the main character, but where you're focusing on your experience of the thing that you're doing, it's so much harder than like when you're doing it with multiple other people, and then also trying to take into account that they are also characters in the story and that you need their perspective as well. And then also trying to make it very, very clear to your audience whose perspective we're experiencing right now, and making sure that every character has like a thing that makes them stand out so that your audience isn't confused about who is talking, who is this guy, like, yeah. I took a 7,500 mile road trip. I'm using pictures I took and posting. It's a fun process. Yeah. Took your tip and took fruit from hotel and ate later in the day while riding Eastern California. Isn't it the best? It's just like free lunch. It's wonderful. Besides you and your cowboy hat, who is the most fashion-forward motovlogger? Motovloggers aren't really known for being fashion-forward. I'm just saying. Maybe Doodle? Maybe Doodle. I'm gonna go for Doodle. I'm going for Doodle. I'm choosing Doodle as the most fashion-forward motovlogger. You heard it here. Why I use my MSR stove with my Jetboil fry pan. Made it to North Central Georgia on a ride. Yet. I have been to North Georgia. Yes. In 2020. My video on my last trip was a compilation of pictures. I mean, like, that's great for your usage. It's not always super entertaining for other people, though. I'm like, if you're building a YouTube channel and that was, like, that's the goal, then, like, using the least amount of pictures possible is my recommendation. Actually, like, not using pictures at all would be my recommendation. But, like, for your own experience and, like, documenting for yourself, like, absolutely. Oh, thank you, Chris. I'm glad that you had a good time. That makes me feel good. The movie at Rocky Mountain Roll was awesome. Thank you, Jim. For people who didn't get to come to Rocky Mountain Roll this year, I bought a projector so that we could, like, watch something that was Sunday night. So a lot of people had left. But I bought a projector. We bought a projector screen. We set it up on one of the pop-ups, and, like, everybody hung out in, like, the little living room that we set up at Rocky Mountain Roll on the couches and stuff. And I asked everybody what they wanted to watch, and they were like, the new episode. So we watched, I think that was episode 13 of the cross-country trip, and we all watched it together, which was a ton of fun. That was a lot of fun. Best way to find out about any event is to show up. Yes, this is true. I pack an older Primus multi-fuel stove in my survival gear that will burn jet fuel. Use it in my job as a helicopter pilot when working in remote areas. That's awesome. That is so cool. You should show us how you use After Effects for the maps. Oh gosh. I don't profess to be, like, the most proficient. That's why I don't do tutorials. But there are, like, if you Google on YouTube, like, making travel maps in After Effects, like, that's how I learned to do it. So, yeah. Can you do an editing video? Maybe. I don't know. Because, like, everybody's editing style is totally different, and, like, just because I do it a certain way doesn't mean that it, like, the way that I do it is going to be the most effective for you. My suggestion is to subscribe to a bunch of different channels who make editing tutorials in the app that you choose to use, and just, like, watch as many as you can. Pick up what is useful for you, and then go from there. That sounds like a pretty ringing endorsement. I'm sold. Adobe will be my next step. I mean, like, Blake, if you want to try, like, DaVinci Resolve, because, like, I'm pretty sure you can still download the base version of Resolve, not Adobe Resolve, DaVinci Resolve. I'm pretty sure you can still download the base model for free. So if you want to start with that and then, like, pay for Adobe, like, that would be a safer bet, so that you're not, like, paying for Adobe, like, for a whole year before you can cancel without any, like, repercussions. Because I think that right now the Adobe Creative Suite has a thing where you have to sign up for a whole year if you're paying the monthly amount. Because right now Adobe has totally moved to the Creative Cloud, so you can't just buy all these programs outright anymore. You have to do the monthly subscription. And so, like, right now I think we're paying for the Adobe Suite. So, like, I have access to all the Adobe programs, like Lightroom, Photoshop, and After Effects, and Premiere, and the Media Encoder, and their audio program, which I can't remember off the top of my head. And I think that's, like, a little bit over $50 a month or something like that. But I know you can subscribe to an individual program if you want. But I'm just like, if you're going to be paying a monthly premium to have access to one program, you might as well pay a little bit more and have access to all of them. Because I use all of them. So, because you want to have access to Photoshop to make really nice thumbnails, you know, and, like, you want access to, it's not Audacity. I can't remember the audio program right now. Anyway, they're the audio program, so that if you need to, like, clean up audio, like, it's way easier to clean that up in the Adobe, like, audio program than it is to do that inside Premiere. It's way more effective too. So, like, might as well just pay for all of them, the whole suite. Steens Mountains is in the middle of nowhere. Corvallis is little rural. Yeah, I'd take that, Sherry. That's a good descriptor. Getting back into the swing of recording after the move is so hard. I'm still off my game and have more I need to learn. Yeah. I can't, like making a huge move like that And like, unless you were like recording the whole process as it happened, when you take a break from filming, it's really hard to get back into it. It's so difficult. Oh, hi, Two Wheels. Sandy, hi. I'm so glad you're here. Doodle cracks me up. She's like the best. I love her so much. I try to do 8 to 15 minutes of fun rides, interesting conversation, and addiction and recovery information. If I can get even one person to get clean and maybe ride on twos, I'll be happy. That's an excellent goal. I love that. Obviously, Shade Tree Surgeon sets the standard in fashion. I guess it's like depends on your definition of fashion. Yay! Electric air pump or mini hand pump for road trips. Electric air pump for life. Always. Like for tires and for sleeping pads. Like I carry for my sleeping pad, I do have the air bag pump thing where you connect it to the sleeping pad and you fill it with air and you kind of like compress it and push the air into the pad. I always carry it just in case like my electric air pump legit just dies and is not rechargeable. But like for tires, I just take the electric pump. Like I'm not gonna sit there with a bicycle tire and like hand pump to try to pump up a motorcycle tire. Like it would take so much time. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like it would be faster to get like a ride into the nearest town and get somebody to tow truck come back with you to the bike and take it into town and fill it up with an electric pump than it would to be doing that with a bicycle pump inflator to pump up a motorcycle tire. Just like, I do not recommend. And also, on the way to get on ABB Fest this year, my brother got a flat tire. Like, I think we were like, maybe 2 hours from Sturgis, and my brother got a flat. He didn't have anything to patch his tire. So I had the tire patch kit, and I had my old like slime pump, right? But I hadn't thought about the fact that like I had dumped the twin in Wyoming like a month before and hadn't checked any of like my emergency gear. And my emergency gear, I mean my tools, my tools. I have the tire patch kit for non-tube tires because most of my bikes are tubeless at this point. So I had my tools, a tubeless patch kit, and then I have the tire inflator, which is my slime pump, and a jump start pack. And I think I had used the jump start pack. I knew that it worked. That was fine. But I haven't opened my slime inflator at all. And so when Gary got his flat on our way to ADV Fest, and I pulled out everything we need to patch his kit, like patch his tire, because he also has tubeless tires. So we just needed to like do like the nasty like rubber thing, like where you make the hole bigger so that you can fit in like the patch kit. What does it look? It looks like a nasty like jerky stick, essentially, is what it looks like. And you shove that in the hole and it plugs the hole so the tire will hold air until you can get to a place where you can replace your tire, right? So we did that, and then I pulled out the inflator, and evidently when I dumped the twin, I had like a nasty down on the Wyoming BDR back in June, and evidently when the bike went down, I absolutely smashed my tire inflator. Like it looked like it was absolutely destroyed. Like the whole like bottom of the plastic was all broken off. There was like literally little pieces of stuff coming out of it when I opened up the container, and I'm like, oh my god, we're so screwed because this tire inflator is totally broken. There's no way it's gonna work. And Gary's like, well, we're gonna try it. And so he plugged it into the tire, and then like we ran the power for it to run, and like it turned on, and it sounded like it was gonna absolutely come apart. Like it was rattling like crazy. Gary had to hold it together, but it did. It filled his tire, and I feel like that's like a crazy endorsement for those slime inflators because it absolutely did not look like it was gonna work, but it did. Absolutely incredible. Anyway, that was a really long-winded answer to electric air pumps for the win for sleeping pads and tires. Thanks for all you do. I'm going to the Grand Canyon from Greenville, North Carolina this fall. Solo. Oh, that's awesome! I hope that you have a wonderful time. Do you solely rely on GPS or do you bring a paper map with you? Depends on the trip. If we do, like, when I did the Idaho BDR, I had the Butler map of the BDR and also the GPX route downloaded on my phone in Onyx Off-Road. For, like, regular trips, like, on the West Coast, I don't take a paper map. I just rely on my phone. I normally have a GPX route downloaded into Onyx Off-Road, and I have that, like, so I have the line that I wanted to do for the whole trip, and that's downloaded into Onyx Off-Road, and then I have offline maps downloaded in Onyx, and then I also have offline maps always downloaded on Google Maps, so even if I don't have service or whatever, I know where I am, I know where I'm going. That's very important. Especially, like, most of my trips, like long trips, I'm spending a goodly amount of time on slab. So there's signs, you know, you're gonna come across this town and you'll be able to ask somebody else. Like, even if my phone died, I'd be fine. You know, really hard to get lost in the United States if you're on slab roads, like if you're on pavement. I had the paper map on the Idaho BDRs because obviously dirt roads and that kind of stuff, it's really good to be able to check if your phone dies, to be able to figure out where you are in the woods and be able to make your way out. I also carry a compass with me because I'm a nerd, and also it's a part of the 10 essentials. Everybody should have a physical compass with you if you spend any time in the woods, even if that's like a maintained Forest Service road. You should have a compass with you. It's part of the 10 essentials. Please carry one. But for the most part, I just use my phone. I think that answered your question. If you could take any bike on a trip, what would it be? Well, it would be the Africa Twin. Like, I've literally been living like the dream this whole summer, getting to ride all over the place with the Africa Twin. It's been absolutely incredible. Like, pinnacle. The only thing that could have made it better was getting to ride like the Africa Twin in Morocco or getting to ride the Africa Twin in China. Because those are like my two, I want to ride there so bad. And I know that you have to pay to like have essentially a babysitter the whole time that you're in China. I don't care. I want to ride in China so bad. I just want to experience it. Like, I want to. Like, not Morocco. What was Mongolia? Mongolia. That's the other one. Yep. I've heard DaVinci is horrible for a beginner. I don't know if I would say that. Like, I don't think DaVinci Resolve is any worse than learning Premiere Pro as a beginner, in my personal opinion. Just watch a lot of tutorials. Like, if you open Premiere Pro or After Effects or DaVinci Resolve and you don't like look up a tutorial, it's gonna, like, of course you're not gonna know where to start. You have to look at it as like mini, I know that everybody hates this, but I'm like, it is school. Like, open a tutorial, learn how to do the thing, open the program, follow the tutorial, like, and then do a project once you have gone through the tutorial so that you can cement what you just learned, and then open a tutorial for the next thing that you want to do, follow the tutorial, apply it to a project so that you can cement what you just learned, and so on and so forth. Hi, Jean, it's good to see you. Thanks for being here. You are super nice. Thanks for the content as well as all the insights. Be well. Catch the next video. Thank you, Bleak. They call them plugs, but they look like a worm. Yes, Sherry, 100%. So I had to laugh. I was going through old pics. We used garbage bags for rain gear and backpacks for luggage. Now $1,000 jackets and $1,500 luggage. Drives me crazy. I don't know. I used like Amazon saddlebags, like a terrible like Amazon dry bag when I first started. That drives me crazy because it was a terrible system. None of my gear worked the way that I wanted it to. It wasn't efficient. And the stuff that I have now, like, it's just such a better experience. It's like so much better. Especially when I first started riding, I had like a jean jacket and like leather chaps, and I'm so much more comfortable now. My gear is like functional. I don't know. We can agree to disagree. Slime pumps are great. I have one also. Yeah, like I can't believe that thing worked. Retiring in 243 days and looking at 2 bikes, BMW F850 and the Honda Africa Twin. What would you start with if you had the choice? Thanks for the vids to help understand what it's like. Like Larry, do you already have riding experience? Like, or do you mean like straight up like first bike ever? Because like those are totally 2 different things. I think that the weight placement on the Africa Twin and the F850 are very comparable. However, parts for the Africa Twin are going to be way cheaper than for the BMW. I'm just saying. Like, parts for any Japanese motorcycle are going to be way more affordable than a BMW or a Triumph or a Ducati. So, like, of course, I'm going to pick the Africa Twin just because, like, Honda parts are easier to get and they're cheaper. But that's totally dependent on you. I feel like the best option for you is to be able to find a place or multiple places where you can sit on both. Even if you can't test ride them, being able just to sit on a motorcycle and see how it feels for you personally is a huge factor in choosing a bike that's going to be good for you. And like nobody's going to be able to tell you if it's going to be comfortable for you personally, you know? I've got a slime pump also, worth the money, but a little large. Yeah, it's a little bit big, but I'm like, after it worked, after getting absolutely smashed, I'm so impressed. Audition. Thank you, Ben. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I couldn't remember that. Don't forget to take a compass class to learn how to use a compass. Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Sherry, for putting that in the chat, because I don't think about that, because we learned how to use compasses when I was a child. But, like, not everybody gets, like, the Montana survival course as a part of their school curriculum, and it's hard for me to remember that. Also, like, for people who grew up in a city, like, I found that this is kind of slightly mind-blowing for people, is that, like, there was literally we learned how to use compasses, like, in primary school. It was just, like, a thing. But in my 5th grade class, 5th grade was middle school for my particular school system. But, so, in my 5th grade class, there was literally a section of the curriculum in almost all of my classes where like we spent part of a semester learning about like survival skills. Like in one of my English classes, like we made first aid kits. Like we learned all the pieces that would go into a homemade first aid kit, and we made first aid kits. And in one of my other classes, we learned about topography and how to read topography on a paper map and how to use a compass. And then one of my other classes, like we learned about makeshift shelters and that kind of stuff. And at the end of the year, we all went to Como Lake, which is like this big lake in western Montana near in the valley, and we all like had to show that we knew how to survive in the woods. Like we knew how to make a makeshift shelter out of a trash bag and some sticks, and like we knew how to read a compass so we wouldn't get lost on a trail, and like you know, like nobody else who like grew up in a city can like relate to this unless you went to like a specialty high school or like an outdoor school or something. But like also like I took hunter safety growing up. Like it's hard for me to remember sometimes. Like not everybody has those experiences and are sometimes starting out like fresh, like learning how to be in the outdoors as adults, which like is crazy for me, but I'm happy that I get to help people learn how to be safe in the outdoors and learn these skills that maybe they didn't have the opportunity to learn as children like I did. I was very, very fortunate, and I had a lot of privilege to be able to grow up in a rural area where that was important, and that our school took the time to teach us those things, even if I hadn't already learned those things in hunter safety, you know? Like, yeah. Anyway, tangents. do you hear the lyrics to Africa by Toto in your head whenever you ride the Ever Twin? No, I do not. The Himalayan has a compass on the dash that kind of works. Thanks, Sandy. That was hilarious. I'd love to ride in Japan. Mongolia is on the list. Norway is a maybe for 2024. Ooh, Sandy, that's so cool. Oh, Larry says first bike ever. Okay, definitely go sit on them then. Like, I feel like it is imperative before you put money down on a bike that you find somebody who already owns them that you can sit on, or like go to demo days at some dealerships so that you can sit on them first. Especially if you're buying brand new. Like, that sounds like an awesome school experience. Yeah, it was super awesome. Japanese bikes are for hardcore riders. Cheap cost and cheap part and many stores with shops. I don't know. I just exclusively say that they're for hardcore riders. I'm just saying that, like, overall, it's like cheaper to maintain. It's easier to find parts for them. Like, even if you're a fair weather rider or you only ride a couple of weekends a year or whatever, like, I feel like the ownership experience of a Japanese motorcycle was more pleasant for me than owning a specialty motorcycle, which is what I called owning a Tiger 800. So I went to a Hunger Games high school. No, I went to a Montana high school, and I feel like rural high schools and schools in rural areas in Montana and Idaho, and I think this is true also in Wyoming, they're just like very aware that like we have a lot of like wilderness and like forested areas that are very near towns, and most people spend their weekends there, and you should know how to not die. We did all that type of survival stuff in Boy Scouts. The winter one in Michigan sucked. Oh, yes. I was also a Girl Scout. I learned a bunch of stuff in Girl Scouts, too. Yeah, Girl Scouts. Hi, Jose. A bike that big as a first bike? Oh, I don't judge anybody. I like... So... We're near the end of my second drink, y'all, so, like, be prepared. This is my rant. I hate the phrase beginner bike, partially because nobody starts at the same place. Like you might already have experience on ATVs, you might already have experience on dirt bikes, you might already have experience like just like handling a like off-road vehicle in general, and that puts you in a totally different place than somebody who has only ever ridden an automatic vehicle their whole life. Or like somebody who has ridden or has driven like big farm equipment that's all stick shift, like has a different starting position like than somebody who's only ever like driven an automatic or who has never driven a car before in their life. There's totally different starting points there, okay? So I think the idea that everybody, like a beginner bike is like 500 cc's or smaller is absolute BS. I think that is a lie, and I hate it so much. And the reason I feel this way is because my first bike was Lazarus, a 1980 Suzuki GS 850, and I cannot tell you how many people told me that that was too big to be a beginner bike, that it was too old to be a beginner bike, and that I was going to hate riding, and that I would quit after a month and I would never ride again. And you know what? I'm still here. And I have ridden more miles than the people who told me those things have ever ridden in their life. So I think saying that something is too big as a beginner bike is absolute BS. You do not know like where somebody is starting, whether they have experience like driving stick shift or if they have like zero experience at all. So if somebody wants to start on a bigger bike, I think more power to them. If it's too much, that is their own problem. Let them figure it out. Like, I feel like saying, oh, you shouldn't get that. Like, that's too much power. That's going to be too much for you. Like, let people make their own decisions. You know, I have very strong feelings about this. I think the biggest thing for people starting out is to take a safety course if you've never ridden a motorcycle before. You should absolutely take a safety course. And even if you have ridden a motorcycle and you don't have your motorcycle endorsement, taking a safety course will cut the cost of your insurance and also make it way easier for you to get your motorcycle endorsement from your state. So take a safety course is like always my recommendation, no matter where you are in your skill level. But I will never tell you what motorcycle you should or should not start with. Because I don't know your experience. I don't know your life experience. I don't know what you want to do with that motorcycle. I think it's BS to start with like a Rebel 250 if you know for a fact that what you want to do with that bike is to travel cross country. Like, I'm not saying that you can't travel cross country with a Honda Rebel 250. You absolutely can. Do whatever the hell you want. However, if you know that what you want to do with that bike is travel long distance, starting with a tiny bike that you're going to be really, really uncomfortable on maybe isn't the best move. You know, especially if you're on a restricted budget and you're only going to be able to buy one bike for like maybe the next 5 years. Get the bike that's going to do what you want it to do. Like, and that's why I got the GS 850 as my first bike, because I knew what I wanted to do was long distance travel on the motorcycle. I knew that I wanted to go from Portland to Montana and back, and I wanted to be comfortable. I didn't want to be rattled to death, and I wanted to start there. And I knew that's what I wanted, and that's what I did. And I feel like that was the best decision that I could have ever made for myself. You know, I have very strong feelings, you guys. It seems somebody rode a CT990 across the country. This is true. But he also knew that that's what he wanted to do, you know? Like, the biggest thing here is, like, knowing what you want to do and then, like, getting what you want to be able to do that thing, you know? And I feel like the beginner bike tag that we put on motorcycles is absolute BS, and I hate it so much. Anyway. I used to teach Trash Bag 101 for search and rescue. Yes, Jim, that's awesome. Northern India and into Nepal, and then donated my bike to orphanage. Super riding and not pricey once you get there. That's awesome. Hi from Vancouver. Itchy Boots and Kinga both recently came through BC, Canada. Magpie soon. I know you wanna. Ride safe, and thanks for sharing your positive energy. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate it. Yeah. Like, it's not that I don't want to go to all these places, you guys. It's just like, I have to strategically choose where I'm going to go and then save my money to do it. As long as you can pick it up after you drop it, who cares what the engine size is? Thank you, Gary. Honda CT 125s will go around the world. Any bike can do it, but the best ones are the ones you are the most comfortable and confident on. Some folks learned on HDs, other on mopeds. Thank you, Richard. Excellent example. Most important part of compass navigation after the compass is having a topo map with you, so if you are in the woods and you are going to a destination, you can orient the map so you go the right way. This is true, Sherry. I fail to remember that, like, not everybody obsessively plans their trips. I obsessively plan almost all of my trips to the point where, like, I can see the map in my head when I'm going through locations. So I know if I know exactly where north is, if I'm in the middle of the woods, like, say that, like, I was in the middle of the woods in New Mexico and all of my phones died, and, like, I had to figure out how to get to Silver City from the Gila Cliff Dwelling National Monument without the road, or, like, that kind of stuff. I have spent so much time planning my trips. I can see the map in my head, so I know if I go north, that's not the direction I want to go. I know wherever I am in the forest, if I go south, eventually I'm going to hit the freeway or, like, a other road or something like that. That kind of stuff. And I forget sometimes that people don't do that. It goes along with, like, the leave no trace principle of, like, going prepared, you know? I go prepared in terms that I have done a ton of research and I know the general, like, geology of the area. Even if I don't have a specific topo map of that area, I know that if I head in one direction for long enough that I'm going to hit civilization, you know? Yes. I learned on a Grom. Awesome. I know just enough to be dangerous. That's wonderful. I love it. Okay, that's the end of my second drink. And we're closing in on 2 hours. I think that we should start wrapping this up. If you have any last minute questions for me, drop them in the chat, and then we'll start wrapping this up for the poor people who are going to try and watch this after we're done, and it's going to be 2 hours, and I'm going to get emails about watching a 2-hour live stream. My idea was I got a used 08 KLR 650 to learn how to ride off-road. Do I want to drop a $2,500 or a $20,000 bike in the puddle that turned out to be where somebody got a big truck stuck? Oh, yeah. Yeah, getting a used bike as your first is also recommended, just in general. Why do you think that I started with a 40-year-old motorcycle? Sounds like you've a compass in your head. Like, it depends on where I am. There's definitely areas where I get turned around, but, like, for the most part, like, if you know that, like, the sun rises, whoa, my brain just went, bloop. Anyway, if you know the sun rises in the east and you know the sun, like, sets in the west, like, even if you're stuck, like, if you followed the, like, the 10 essentials and you have extra food, you have water, you have emergency shelter, you have extra clothes, you have a compass, you have navigation, all of those things. Like, even if your navigation, like, cuts out or whatever and you don't have a compass, you can just wait for the sun to start to set so you know exactly where west is, and that will tell you where north and south is. You know? And if you did your preparation ahead of time and, like, you have a general idea of where you are and what, like, the land masses kind of look like, you don't have to know exactly where all the streams are. But if you head in a certain direction, that you're going to find civilization eventually. That's, like, the most important thing. My coworkers get on me because I use north, south, east, west for directions. Oh, what am I drinking? Well, I'm not drinking anymore. I just ran out of my drinks. But I started with bourbon and apple cider, and then I ended with tequila and apple cider. Highly recommend bourbon and apple cider. Way better. The tequila and apple cider was a terrible decision. That was not recommended. And the bourbon was this lovely bottle of Blanton's that somebody brought me to recommend roll, which was just lovely. Easy way to mount a camera GoPro to your helmet. The removable action camera mount from Telesin. Telesin. Absolutely recommended. You don't have to glue anything to your helmet. It's not permanent. It's removable. Best and easiest way to mount any kind of action camera to your helmet. Cool. Most of the time is linked in the description of my videos. I got asked the same question. My response, go sit on them all and pick one that feels right. Thank you, Alanya. Excellent, excellent answer. Fortnite has a cool video on how to use your bike's parts to survive. That's awesome. Of course he does. Of course he does. I saw your photos with Shade Tree. Did you do a local ride with him or just see him and Shay off on the Silver Wings? I got to see them when they were stopped at Legion Motorcycle here in Portland, Oregon. I was still, like, just getting better from being sick, so I wasn't able to go on the group ride. So I didn't get to ride with them, unfortunately. But I did get to see them before they took off across the country. I generally plan first 2 days when I land the zero, planning from then on. Worked in Southeast Asia and all of South America. Big fan of Scotch. Yeah. I mean, like, just, like, having a general idea of the area. Like, even if you don't know exactly your route, like, looking at a map and having a general idea of, like, geography, I feel like is a little bit important, especially if you're going off the beaten path or if you're going to do anything off-road. Having a good, like, understanding of what the geography looks like. it's helpful. You know, you never know when you're going to get lost. You never know when stuff's going to go wrong. And being like knowing where all of your outs are or what direction you need to go to reach civilization in the worst case scenario, I feel like is important. Your adventures are inspiring, and I'm getting out and doing the thing with 1,600 miles tour of North Carolina this week. Keep up the great videos. That's awesome. Have you have a fantastic trip and you have a ton of fun. Time for you to visit fall foliage in Adirondacks. And yours. I'm trying. I don't know if you were here earlier, but I did say that like I have a plan to visit the Northeast and like the New England area for fall. I just don't know when it's going to happen because I know that I need to save a significant amount of money in order to make it happen. Anyway, we're closing right in on 2 hours, you guys. I like your content and admired your adventurous spirit. Was wondering if the considerable delay in releasing your episodes compared to actual film day was intentional, or did it just work out that way? That was on purpose. Partially, I did answer this question earlier in the stream, but it was on purpose. Like I filmed like almost every day of March and then a little bit into April so that I wouldn't have to worry about filming and editing new content all summer. I would have a backlog of content that could go out on the regular so that if there was a big break between trips, there wasn't like a bunch of videos that I had to make in my garage just to put out a new video for the week. Yeah. Pardon my ignorance, but what is Upshift? Upshift is an online motorcycle magazine. They are super awesome. Definitely Google it. Look up Upshift Motorcycle Magazine. They make really, really great content. They pay really, really awesome creators to write articles for them, including Tim and Marissa Notier. They write stuff for Upshift every once in a while. They're just a really, really cool company that directly supports motorcycle riders that are on the road. Not all of them are content creators, but a lot of them are really wonderful writers and photographers. But yeah, that's what Upshift is. I've started planning next year's ride to Rocky Mountain Roll. 10 months of studying maps. Yeah. Have you watched $1 Million Bogan? He does some crazy stuff. He does do some crazy stuff. And that's all that I will say about it. Okay. I think that we're going to wrap this up. I don't want the stream to go over 2 hours just for the pity of everybody who's going to have to watch this later. Because I know there are people who watch the restream or the recorded version of the live stream. So thank you all so much for being here. Thank you to everybody who sent super chats. I appreciate you. And in the meantime, guys, I will see you next week with a lovely episode from the first episode, actually, of the May trip that my brother and I did of Western Montana. I know that it's time to end the stream because I'm tripping over my words. But thank you all so much for being here. I hope that you really, really enjoy the video that's coming this Friday. Yeah. Thank you. Have all of you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday or rest of your Monday if you're on the other side of the planet. I'll see you guys all later.